Today we have an amazing guest. I'm really fortunate to have today, and it's Amber Bricco that owns Denizen Wedding and Event Venue on Valete Street.
So I actually have been in events and weddings my entire career. I was accidentally promoted, and the GM was like, "Is this something you can do?" And I was like, I don't know,
Yeah,
but like
we'll figure it
I'm
out.
for sure happy to help until we figure out something. The building was a huge eyesore, and I looked at Rachel and I was like, "Hey, what if we just go home and Google who owns this building and see if they're open to selling it, because they're obviously not using it."
Yeah.
Right.
What if we just do that? And she was like, "Ha, yeah, okay, let's go do it. Let's go do it."
Never know. Hello, Jackie. Today we have an amazing guest. I'm really fortunate to have today, and it's Amber Bricco that owns Denizen Wedding and Event Venue on Valete Street, right? I guess the Tosa borderline, right? Tosa?
It is. It's right on the border of Tosa. The neighborhood we're in is called Martin Drive.
Okay.
Darling.
Tell me a little bit about the neighborhood, Amber. I'm curious
Yeah.
because I live just about 2 minutes from there, and it's just such a cool neighborhood.
It's a super
I live
cool
right off Holly
neighborhood.
Road, so yeah.
Yeah, so I bought a house in Martin Drive in, I think, 2014, not knowing anything about the neighborhood, but the house itself was just like, you knew it was the one, right?
Are you from the Milwaukee area then?
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm from northern Wisconsin.
Okay. What
Okay.
area in northern Wisconsin?
Does Antigo? Does
Yeah.
anyone know where Antigo is?
We have a
Yeah.
cabin up in Woodruff area, so my parents
Yeah.
always go through Anigo. We
Yep.
think Anigo.
It's
with it.
Anigo when you're from
With
the
our
Northwoods.
Wisconsin accent.
I've never been up north. I wouldn't even know.
You don't really need to go up there, yeah.
Oh, I
You're
love it. I
beautiful.
love like being on the lake. That's like my
If
vibe.
you can find a lake,
Yes.
it's great. And I was raised on a lake outside of Antigo in an
That's nice.
unincorporated town.
Being
called
raised by
Kohler.
water, there's something to be said,
Beautiful.
raised by water.
Yes.
So you bought a house.
Yes.
Yes.
And you love the neighborhood.
I fell
You
in
fell in love
with
with
the
it.
neighborhood.
You probably know the guys that own Lucci Lighting.
Yeah, Mitch.
I
And
do.
then, yep.
I love
and
Mitch.
that's-
I actually worked with Mitch to do all
You
my
did. Mitch is
gorgeous
fantastic.
lighting at Denizen.
Yeah,
he was
incredible.
fantastic.
He's an amazing
Love him.
human. Love him.
Yes.
And then the gentleman, the wonderful gentleman that owned the flower store right across the street, the flower
Yeah,
place.
Urban Sense.
They're wonderful too. So
Yes.
that's a cool little pocketed neighborhood. It's like it's a very homey neighborhood. I feel like all of the people that own businesses really work with each other
Right.
in that area there where you're located. So you tell me about how you found this space, because it looks like it's been completely renovated or built from the ground up. Tell me a little bit about
The
Denizen.
decorating is like insane. It's
you.
beautiful.
But tell me about
Yes.
how you got started with
Yes.
the company and what you did before and what provoked you to go into one of the most fun businesses, the
Yes.
wedding business, but also one of the most challenging businesses.
For sure. So I actually have been in events and weddings my entire career. I was accidentally promoted in, I worked for Lowlands Group, which is like Cafe Benelux and Cafe Hollander.
Sure.
This was very early on in the company. I mean, 20 years ago now, probably. I was at Trocadero, and the event person that they had quit and walked out the door.
You were at Trocadero?
I was at Trocadero.
Come on. When I moved here from
I was a
Chicago.
server. Yes.
Oh my God. My favorite night was Thursday night's Red Light.
It was
upstairs?
So, oh my
The
gosh, Red
best.
Light was
Nobody
insane.
could.
It was
no,
insane.
Yeah.
I love that you were from that era too, because and you look so young, by the way. You're so
Oh,
beautiful.
thank you.
But I just remember when I got to Milwaukee from Chicago, and not to interrupt you, but
Yeah.
just briefly, Red Light was like, oh, there's something
It was so
awesome to
great.
do here. Such a
Yes.
great mix of people, a vibe, and something that can never be duplicated.
For
So
sure.
you worked at Trocadero.
Yes, and the events person that they had walked out the door. She quit, and the GM was like, "Is this something you can do?" And I was like, "I don't know,
Yeah,
but like
we'll figure it
I'm
out."
for sure happy to help until we figure out something." And it turns out I was really good at it. And we slowly developed their events program there. And it just stuck. I worked at the Botanical Gardens with Zilly Hospitality Group.
Yeah.
I was out in Mequon at a country club for 4 or 5 years as their director of events. I just
Love it.
Love
like
it.
just are passionate about
That's
it.
pretty incredible. I mean, your repertoire is, I mean, that's a lot more than I had. I never
Yes.
worked in the wedding business in my life.
Oh, you did
I
it
never
before
even
you
worked in
opened your
a
venues?
The only
Oh
thing
my
I did was
gosh.
waited tables, and I was damn good at it when I was
Yes.
in my late teens and early 20s. But no, I never worked in any type of field. I guess I just paid a lot of attention. And as I said before on prior shows, I owned women's clothing stores for 25 years of my life. So, dealing with women on a day-to-day basis and my female staff and a couple guys thrown in there.
And that's how
Kinda
we
ma-
met. Like I
Oh,
know
yeah,
that's
that
how
makes
we
sense.
met.
Yes, that's how we met in the clothing business. But I mean, working with us doing
Yeah.
our marketing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I feel like I was always groomed for the wedding business. But yeah, those years of experience, that's a lot of experience to have. And you've worked for some top tier places too. That's why you're so successful already
Thank you.
and in such a short amount of time. So, okay, so you had your experience in
Yes, yeah.
botanical gardens, and then you what?
So then Rachel, my wife, and I, we were walking our dog. We always headed over to Washington Park. We live right there. We're 2 blocks away from
I have to ask
the park
because I'm
and
an animal
Denizen.
lover. What kind of dog and what's its name?
He is, I believe
We're obsessed
he's a
with dogs.
Rottweiler German Shepherd mix.
Oh,
Yeah, so
Oh,
he's a big dog. He's a big
God.
boy. His name's Jasper.
Oh,
I'm coming over to meet
cute.
him next
I know,
week,
yes.
baby. I'm
He's-
bringing my fun dog. He loves shepherds.
Yeah, he's 10 or 11 at this point, so our walks are getting shorter, which
Yeah,
I really don't
right.
mind.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so we were walking Jasper, and we walked past that building all the time. And if you spend any time on my website, you'll see the renovation that happened there.
Yeah.
The building was a huge eyesore.
Mm-hmm.
It was boarded up, I think, for like 20 or 30 years.
Oh wow.
crazy.
Like it was a
Wow.
long time, the entire decade that I've been in the neighborhood and then some. And I looked at Rachel and I was like, hey, what if we just go home and Google who owns this building and see if they're open to selling it, because they're obviously not using it.
Yeah.
Right.
What if we just do that? And she was like, haha, yeah, okay, let's go do it. Let's
You
go do it.
never know.
Yeah, and we did. We went home, we Googled, we found the owner, Tom, and set up a coffee meeting with him, a coffee date at Valentine's down the street. And I think it did take us about a year to go through the process of buying the building. And Tom had been trying to sell it, but he was being very particular in who was going to take over that building.
Yeah.
Mostly
Wow.
because of the amount of repairs that it needed.
Yeah.
It
And
was
people
gonna
that
be
have
a
owned buildings for
significant
so many
investment.
years, they really are particular sometimes. They
Yes.
want somebody that's going to become as compassionate as they were about when that building was active.
Right. And that was something I felt right away. That first, like, there's a moment in construction.
Sure.
Most of construction is just like, oh my God, what did I
Exhausting,
get myself
overwhelming.
into?
Yeah.
Sure.
But there's a moment where, like, your finishes start to go up.
Yeah.
And I stepped into the building, and it was like immediately I could feel the building just like radiating
Yeah.
this joy that something was happening with it again. And you can really feel it when you step inside of Denizen. I have so many clients walk through the door, and instantly for their tour, they go, wow. Like,
Even
there's
from looking at the
something
pictures,
special
it's
when you're inside
Jackie,
the building.
it's wow.
I know, I gotta get
When
there.
I first saw that, I'm like, who's opening up another venue? But I'm always excited.
But
too,
like
'cause
all the
I'm like,
finishes and the touch, like, did you pick that or did you like have an
Yeah.
interior person you work with? That's one question, and then also your wife. What did she do before? Does she?
She's in the weddings and
Oh,
events
she is.
too.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, she is. So she is on the back of house side of
Okay.
things. Rachel has always been a chef.
oh, I didn't
and
know that.
She went to James Madison University for hospitality.
Exceptional.
And then she worked in Rhode Island for quite a long
Oh,
time
wow.
with Russell Morans, which is a really amazing caterer out
Yeah.
on the East Coast. So she is a super, super talented
Wow.
chef.
That's
So
amazing.
do you have then a kitchen there?
We have a prep space. She very much did not. She's
She
kind of at
doesn't
a
want to
cross-
do the
She's at a
wet
crossroads right now because she's also been doing catering for so long.
Okay.
She doesn't know if she wants to continue down that route.
Right.
And like that's actually where we're at right now, where we're trying to decide what is Rachel going to do, because she's catching the entrepreneurial bug too.
Yeah.
She's
Sure,
like, I
sure.
want in on this.
Yeah.
Like, what does this
Yeah,
look like for us? And
yeah.
I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'll have to explore that, figure it out.
So that's what an exciting road that you've been able to take in your life to, to do something that you're evidently very passionate about. And I know that, most of my life I've always done things that I'm passionate about. Even when I was bussing tables at like 16 years old, I was passionate about it because I came from a family that just worked hard and
Yeah.
they had their own businesses. And, I remember working in a grocery store, paper route when I was 13, 14 years old and couldn't wait to work, couldn't wait to do something that I really loved to do. But to be able to do that now and to execute it on a daily basis and to wake up and to know that you really get to do something you love is just such a great feeling. And sometimes when the stress is there, it's okay. You think about,
Yeah.
oh my God, I'm really doing what I get to like to do. I can't really complain right now.
I have really, so we're just in our second summer. And we are
congrats.
really, really busy. And we were last year too. Come August, it was already craziness.
Your social media is on par.
Thank you.
Coming from somebody that is really like social media driven. Excellent.
Thank you. Social media is actually really tough for me.
Really?
It really is.
Why would you think that? Like, why would you?
I just don't like it.
Yeah.
I haven't been a big social media person my whole life. I don't, like, even if you go to my personal pages, I probably post like twice a year. It's bad.
You know what? It's okay, but let me share with you something, and I'm just a little input. I don't know how much you use your social media pages, but I usually use it for posting I probably have 55,000,
Yeah.
4,900, and I've gathered those, and most of them are probably women, I would say. I don't go through my friends list, but, I use it so much for business. And I find that I've received so much, business and just recommendations just utilizing for the social media. So use your page.
Yeah.
If it's not for just posting about your personal life, do it for, hey, look at what this wedding was last year, or share it. It's just another avenue for just bringing more business to you.
And it's so funny because I have no coworkers. Like, it's just me.
Yeah.
So I use it more of like as coworkers to like interact with people in stores throughout the day. So I'll post in my stories like on my business page, like just talking. Like, it won't be like on my normal grid. That's where I post my work. But it's a totally different vibe when you're an entrepreneur and you're like, oh, I don't have coworkers to talk to, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, maybe I should throw something up, get a conversation going.
And
So-
I hear that all the time too, where it's like clients, the younger generations, are buying based off of the person and not necessarily a brand anymore.
Oh my
Agreed.
God,
You are
you
the
hit
brand. So
the
like, people
nail
tell
on
me
the
all
head.
the time, I really need to be like my face on social
Yes.
media. all the
Yes.
time.
I don't a ton
Yes.
either. I just started doing it in
Yeah.
the last 2 years. I've been in business 16 years. And everyone's like, you should show yourself more. I'm like, half the time I'm going to work just doing production, like whatever. I'm like, oh, I have to like actually
Amber,
get ready.
I was just saying there's 2 bagel places in the neighborhood, and I was just telling Bree this. One of them, the owner's not there anymore. She's at her new place, and I'm not going to say the name. The one that is literally next door to us, the owner's always there. And I'm not a person that like needs to be like, oh, hey, Clay, how are you? I just like the feeling of dealing with an owner.
Yeah.
Of a small business. And
It's
there's something to
different.
be said about that. And I know that when I had my clothing stores, it was really important for me to be in my clothing stores a lot because clients would come to see me. And you totally hit the nail on the head. It is so great that you know that because a lot of venue owners don't know that. And a lot of venue owners don't respond. They have an assistant that's responding to calls and texts. And I'm like, no, I'm an owner. If I need to respond to 30 emails today, I'm going to do it within an hour if I can. And if I need to text all these people back, I'm going to do it personally. I will never delegate that, not even to my business partner, because we split what we do. My good friend Marta that owns Cubanita, she's my partner for 3 of my venues, but she has her side and I have my side, and I handle all the sales and meeting with the clients. And I'm telling you, when you say that it's the person, and it's not so much the brand, that is so true. I mean, you have to have a brand that they like.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Without a
yes.
doubt. We know that. And you do. You have a great brand. But, I just sitting here talking to you, and I met you once at one of the shows, I could tell, oh, she's going to be successful because just your demeanor about yourself and your personality. And I can't tell you how many times, and I'm not patting myself on the back, but I get, you know what, Clay, we've looked at 6 venues. They're all so snobby. We love you. You're so easy to get along with. You're so laid back. You respond quickly. Those things are so important, and they make me, and that's just me as a human being. That is my personality. So I feel like it just goes hand in hand to what I'm doing, and to achieve the success in this business, what you're doing and what I'm doing and what many others are doing as well, is really selling yourself, and that's what it is, or just being yourself, who you are as a person.
Yeah.
So you find that you probably book a lot of people because they love dealing with you for their experience, and they know they're in a comfort zone. Right? You have to take the brides or the groomsmen, who's ever getting married, to whom you have to create that level of comfort.
Agreed.
How do you do that in the business? How do you, Amber, create that level of comfort? How do you deal with a bride that is challenging? Because we all know they're as sweet as can be at the beginning. And the few days before, it could be her, it could be the mother stressful, it could be we all
mother-in-law.
know that. So back to my question. How do you deal with the brides? How do you make them comfortable, or the groomsmen that are getting married together?
Right. So we are a boutique event space. Is something that I
You're
cover.
what?
So a boutique event space. So we offer a lot of assistance for our
Love
couples.
the name.
Yeah. During the tour, we go over our entire process. So before they even book, they already know we're going to have a 6-month planning meeting. We're going to have a design meeting. We're going to have a final meeting. That is included in your day.
That's incredible.
It's a ton of work, but I find it imperative to make sure that you're relieving the stress that people feel. So at that 6-month meeting, we really go through and, we're doing a lot of what any venue owner would do, but we're also leaning into, we're getting all of your contact info for all of your vendors because I want to make sure I'm reaching out to them and I'm handling their load-in times, their setup. We're building a timeline. We're running through your diagram and creating a custom floor plan. We're talking in depth about cocktails and beverages, your linen colors. Are you DIYing things?
And you do the linen colors,
things?
and you do the linens and all that stuff.
We do the linens.
Too.
Yep.
Wonderful.
We work through Windy City for the linens.
You have a lot of work cut out for yourself.
It is a lot.
It is a lot, but you love it. I mean,
love it.
And every experience is different. That's what's cool about
and
it.
it couldn't be.
You don't have to see the same bride twice.
Right.
Although I am this year, I'm seeing a bride twice.
Are you?
I am seeing a bride.
He's
twice.
in the point of his career where it's
The
like
where they're coming back through.
repeat customers.
I am seeing, not to interrupt, but hold on. I didn't even tell you this because this actually happened last month. So a bride got married at the 6th floor. This is 7 and 8 years ago.
Yeah.
She divorced within 1 year. I don't want to say her name. She's probably listening to my podcast because she loves my she's on my social media page. I don't care. She's cool. She won't mind. And she sent me a message about 2 months ago. Clay, I don't know if you remember me. I got married at the 6th floor. I said, yeah, totally. I said, how are you doing? I said, do you want to book like a party or, is you having like a, renewing your vows? And she says, well, I heard about your new venues and we'd like to see a couple of them. And I'm getting remarried. I said, okay. I said, this is the first, but the fact that she's coming back to me when I heard that, I got goosebumps. I'm like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
she
I
says,
think so,
Clay,
too.
this one's a charm. Don't
And
worry.
this is the first time
She
this happened to you?
She found her first cheating on her, which
Oh, gosh.
she's a very much an extrovert. So if she hears this podcast, she'll probably text me.
Well, and we're not
and
using
say,
names. So.
Yeah, no. She'll probably text me and say, Clay, go for it. Say whatever you want. She can't stand the guy, but he moved to California. So anyway,
Not to give
I
away
get-
too many
I get-
details.
I get the whole scoop. It's like I'm like a hairdresser, you know. I mean, a gay male owning wedding venues. We get the scoop from everybody.
It's true.
So yeah, I mean, I know their social security numbers by the time the wedding ends. So anyway, but yeah, it's kind of a cool thing. So
I do want to touch on how you got the name. Like, where did you
yes.
think of the
Where
name?
did you get the
Yeah,
name?
so-
That's what I love. The name.
Thank you.
It's easy. For some
Yeah.
reason, it's a long word, and I'm not one for
Denizen,
long
yeah.
words, but this one is easy.
But you're long-winded.
It just
Yeah,
it feels right too. Like when you look at the space, we have a little touch of like whimsy and a little touch of eclectic in there. And I mean, as you both know, naming your business is really hard.
Yeah.
You're like naming a child.
It
Yeah.
is. It is.
And it is the first impression that people get of your business. They read
Sure.
and they go, Denizen or the Claiborne, or like it has to be intriguing enough for them to click.
It does. You're right about that.
So when I wish I could remember some of the other words we had, but I knew I wanted a little bit of an eclectic word that was still common enough that people would be able to pronounce it and remember it. But when we were looking through definitions, denizen means to frequently visit or reside. It's related to citizen.
Interesting.
In
Did
what
you know
I was
that?
language?
I don't remember its
Okay.
origins.
That's
yeah.
okay.
But it just felt appropriate because that's what we were trying to build.
Yeah.
We knew we wanted to be deeply rooted
Love
in
it.
our community. We wanted to have clients that felt comfortable coming
And
back.
it sounds
time
like
and time
design.
again.
Yeah.
I think that's why
Yes.
it's such an easy name to remember. I don't know.
It feels right for the space.
It feels right
just
for the
does.
space because your design of your space is so cool. And I drove by the other day, and it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful.
you.
It's a beautiful exterior.
And the lighting. Like, I
And-
noticed from, like, anytime I see photos, I'm like, oh, my gosh.
Mitch
I got to
is
get
her
there.
lighting's
fantastic.
phenomenal.
Yeah, he's incredible.
For residential or commercial.
Yeah.
Mitch was great. We talked about like the lumens and the warmth and the temperatures and all the things. I feel like a lighting expert after going through and doing all this with.
Let me
Yeah.
tell you something. I've walked into many venues, and there's no lighting, and you kind of have to bring your lighting or create it. And one thing that I know, and I love lighting, even in my clothing stores, I always had cool chandeliers.
Everything's on a dimmer in my house,
Yeah,
like, percentage-wise.
But lighting in my venues is like in every venue I have, the four of them, there is one huge piece of lighting, and let me tell you. I can't tell you sometimes that sells the space.
Oh, yeah.
Just the light. They don't give a shit about anything else. Oh, women love great looking lighting. It's so
I
true,
feel like
right?
There is so
They love
many,
chandeliers. They love, I don't know,
Yes.
there's so many things. You get it. You
Yeah.
get it. You know.
And there's so many venues though where I feel like, and I mean, we both know as you're under construction, all these surprises come up,
Right.
and your funds start to run out, and you're getting to the end where
1000%.
you're like,
and
what
then
am
your
I
ass
gonna
better be
cut?
like,
Yeah.
I better
And
start
people
showing it
cut the
tomorrow and book
lighting,
it.
like that's what people do. They cut the
Yeah.
lighting, and we got to that point too, where we had to decide what are we cutting,
yeah.
Yeah.
and it was like, I am not.
No, it
cutting
makes
those
the space.
chandeliers.
Hell
Absolutely
no.
not. They were
No.
so expensive, but I was like, no, where else can we cut?
We
Yeah.
spent
And we like cut wainscoting and like
Yeah.
We spent $5,000 on the one at the
Yes, they're
Mitch,
so
and guess
expensive.
what? It's massive and beautiful, and people walk in,
Yeah.
and the first thing a woman says was like, "Oh my,
Oh my
God,
gosh.
that light!
Yes.
It's perfect."
Well, because
with
you
my
imagine,
decor."
like, dancing under it or, like, talking or, like, you just envisioned being in the moment.
So,
Yep.
true. So let's get to the things that. What is the most challenging couple you've had? Like, I mean, you've been in the business.
you don't
for
have to
2
say
years.
names.
You don't have to say names, or not challenging. What is the biggest challenge sometimes? Are you a
business.
calm person? Do you get frustrated quickly?
I'm a
Because
super
I'm a
calm
Scorpio,
person.
and sometimes
You're
No.
very
hold
calm.
on.
Like you have
Sometimes
a very like
I
calming
need to
energy.
I need to stand back
I
and
believe it.
like the mother-in-law is driving me crazy. I'm like, Clay, go take a effing walk.
And I'm
Go
a
take
Taurus,
walk.
so like both of
And
us
this
together,
was
we're like
this was just Friday's wedding, and this mother-in-law, and I'm Jewish and she was Jewish, so this made it even more challenging. But I knew how to handle her, and she was so mean. And my director calls me. She says, "Boy, she's really being snippy with me on the phone." I said, "Get over it. She'll be fine." By the end of the night, hugged me,
Best
gave me
friends, yeah.
kisses. Love it, fine. But there was one point where she kept asking me like 5 different questions, and I'm like, wanted to say, that's something you should have handled. But I didn't. I walked out the door and I took a walk, and sometimes you have to do that, right?
Yeah. Well, so I'm definitely a calm person. I'm a Libra.
I could totally tell.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
my
you
mom.
and your
You
aura
are my
is just
mom.
like-
She's so calm.
that's
Just
my
very
mom too.
chill.
What's your
like,
birthday? March?
October 14th.
Oh, no,
yeah.
wait. My mom's not a Libra.
Yeah.
Never mind. I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't remember what
She'll
March
kill me.
is, but mine's in. I'm in the Burr months. It takes a lot to rile me, and I think
It
that
does.
is also what kind of rescues me in those moments, because I spend the entire planning process super involved with these couples. I'm super accommodating. I'm as flexible as I can be without sacrificing any quality.
Oh, good.
And if something comes up where a button's pushed, I think I also wear my emotions on my face all the time. So it's
Same.
like you get a look, and like while I'm still being very polite, I get very direct. Like I have no fear in uncomfortable situations. If something needs to be said, it needs to be said. And most of my clients receive the message pretty clearly.
Yeah.
Got it. And then,
Well, especially if you're calm delivering it, and if
Yep.
you're direct, I feel like when there's emotions involved, that's when it can take
Yes.
it to the next level.
like I would say to the mother-in-law, you know what? I really think you need a really nice vacation for a month while we're planning this. And I would say that calmly, and then I would say, and I'll even pay for it.
You know, well, it does get so heated.
Yeah.
Like when people
Oh my
have
gosh.
contradictory
Especially the
opinions,
mothers and daughters when they don't
mothers
agree,
and
right?
daughters, yeah,
Is that the
families
toughest?
And families, yep. It is. It's almost always mothers and daughters.
I had a girl walk out
Yeah.
a few weeks ago. She just was like, her and her mom got in a fight. She said, "You know what, Mom? It's your wedding, evidently."
It's all
So-
immediate family.
Oh,
It's
and you
always.
have to be the
You feel the
therapist
most
too, right?
Sometimes it's the dad.
Sometimes the whole family's there, the cousins,
Yes.
the aunts, the uncles. They're like, "Well, we didn't know there was a caravan dropping you off
And
for a
it's
layout."
hard. It's hard because you have to try to be
Mediator.
the mediator and say,
You
like,
do.
I hear you, and this is an important day for you as the mother as well.
We need a
but
therapy
these
group for
people
wedding
are my-
owners.
honestly, yeah, it's like you
Well, and I
have to be
think
true to your
We are
client.
therapists.
I think too, like with your family, and this is the way I am. I'm a totally like differently like unhinged person because I know they love me unconditionally. If I'm
Yeah.
like a total psycho and say something foolish, my sister will be like, whatever, there goes Jackie, where it's like, in my business, I can hold it together. But even like with my boyfriend, I get unhinged. I'm like, why did I need to get so unhinged? I would
Yeah.
never talk like that to anybody. Not even like mean, but I'm like very direct.
Yes.
Where in
Sometimes
a way,
you have to be in this business.
Yeah.
But what is your? I mean, I know. I share some things about my business and the craziest things that happen. How do you deal with all the drunk people? That's what I want to know. Because I gotta tell you, what?
We don't. I don't get a ton of like ragers at Denizen, and like through my years, I definitely have.
Yeah.
I definitely
Right.
have
Sure,
had
sure.
venues where it's like people are having a good time. I don't know if it's like the atmosphere or if it's
open bar.
right. It's just people are not. I think in the 2 years now almost that we've been open, I've only had one instance where I was like, wow, this person is drunk and I need to cut them off.
yeah.
Everyone else behaves themselves. All of my clients are really wonderful. I haven't had.
Like any
I
crazy
just had a
stories?
I don't
Super.
have any crazy stories.
Yeah,
Every,
really?
You're-
God, oh
she's
my
new
God.
yet.
It's
She's
we're
new yet.
really
You're gonna
only
need
like
a little bit of
a year
time.
and a half.
She's got the
open.
soft and calm venue.
She's got less
I
than
do
24
too,
months.
But I had this, oh my God, this young couple a couple weeks ago. And when I say young, it's so rare to have somebody 23, 24.
Right.
You know, and of course all their college friends and everything. So it was, we had to cut a lot of people off. And you know, that doesn't happen that much. More so with quinceañeras. Because quinceañeras, it's more of an adult party. It's not a kid's party.
I was gonna say,
And-
isn't it a kid party?
It's
Why-
a
have our
kid party,
first
but it's a
quinceañera
major
coming
adult
up.
party. And when I talk about the Latin community, what they do for quinceas, they spend, if not as much as a wedding,
It's a wedding.
twice as much. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're huge. But so you haven't had any crazy stories yet.
haven't
You
had
will
any
when we
crazy
have you on
stories
again
yet,
another
yeah.
year. You will. But I don't know. The business is exciting. It's really great, and there's so much you learn from people too. And what is the biggest challenge though that you have? What do you think your biggest challenge is, or is everything
so
just calm for you?
I was just talking to Rachel about this, and I feel like our biggest challenge right now is our size. We're an intimate event space. My
Right.
maximum seating capacity is 120,
Yeah.
and I think our design is. It's like if someone wants their event at Denizen, they already know
Yeah.
before they come tour. And so now we have clients that are starting to force themselves into the venue because they know they want to be here, but then they're not cutting their guest counts.
Yeah.
So then we're
Right.
ending up with
Over,
like
yeah.
we're in our final meeting and they're like, well, we're at this guest count. And I'm like, okay, but now where does
We
your
need to squeeze
backdrop
that
go?
in.
Where
Yeah,
does
right.
your buffet go? I'm like, this does, I know
Yeah,
to
it
you,
does
20
impact.
people doesn't feel like a lot, but it does change everything because now we're occupying
They're always
the space
sneaking
for-
more in.
Well, and
always,
Always,
always.
right?
It's inevitable. They say 120. I'm like, okay, 140.
Right, and then it's
I'm like, okay. And sometimes we're like, guys.
Can't you just say like the fire code doesn't allow us to have like this many people?
Well, so that's
how's that
so I
work?
They
do.
don't.
So,
They
like,
don't.
I'll
You have
say
a
our
max.
seating
Not that the city
capacity-
really checks, but still, now I
Yeah.
don't want to say this on my
It's-
podcast. But we stay within our. We stay
No, I
within
know.
our
That's I'm
capacity.
saying to the brides. Like say, hey,
Yes.
listen, like we can't possibly allow any more people
we could.
comfortably.
Yeah, we could. It's more so like, so when you get to our maximum seating
Yeah.
capacity of 120, you should be having a plated meal, not a buffet. You
Yeah,
should
exactly.
be cognizant and thinking
Right.
about of like the different displays you have because we don't have a ton of wall space anymore
Right.
for things to go
Yeah.
on.
And-
And then they'll show up and be like, but I have all these fun vendors because there's so many amazing
Agreed.
options.
And
where do they
the
go?
comfort I use this all the time with my clients. I'm like, I've been to weddings where I'm squeezed in. I said,
It's
I don't
awful. It's
I don't
awful.
want a bad review from your guests. I don't want your guests leaving and going on
It
my
was so
Google
tight in
and
there.
saying,
Yes.
hey, I just went into a sardine venue. I said, that's not cool.
Right.
I said, so therefore, I want you to have the best experience possible with us. Tell me one of the greatest things that you love about what you do now in your life.
Yeah.
And also,
What excites you about your business?
and to caboose on that, like towards the end, where do you see yourself in the next couple of years? Like, do you see yourself opening another venue?
So answer both those
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah. I think like the biggest thing for me right now is I still am just kind of awestruck that I'm doing
This
it.
is your life. Yeah.
You know?
Imposter
love it. I
syndrome.
love
I'm
it.
still in
Yes.
it
Yeah.
16 years later. I'm like, is this real life?
Yeah.
So give yourself 2 or 3 years to open up another one.
Yeah.
And then you will.
Yeah.
You'll get the high from it. Believe me, I'm done with 4. 4 is
Yeah.
my limit. And I realize that I can't do any more sales than 4 because I
Right.
literally
You'd be stretched. I can't imagine.
Yeah, no, I'm very structured and very balanced.
Yeah.
So it works for me, and I'm so used to driving from venue to venue. It works for me, but definitely think before you open another one and make sure that
Yes.
you can handle it. And you know, there's so many days in a year for you to book your venue for the weekends, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. You know,
Right,
which is
and
fantastic.
I think I have no intention of opening a second venue when I opened Denizen. I just wanted something for me.
But definitely
But-
become an
but-
addiction.
Seeing, you know, the amount of inquiries we get and the want for
Love that.
larger weddings to fit into my space,
that.
I could see possibly opening up one more bigger space.
To
And
push
you know,
the
and you know,
other,
you
inquiries
defy
so
that
too.
way.
that
I
we're
mean,
getting a little bit more of the market.
right, and you know, you're in an area where you're not surrounded by hotels either. I mean, that's and that is really, I think, fantastic that you're
Yeah.
so successful,
Mm-hmm.
and it just goes to show you again, people are booking with you because it's you and it's Rachel and it's your
Yeah.
team that you have, and that's important. A couple other things I want to hit on, and then we'll wrap up in about 5 or 10 minutes. But you know, we are LGBTQ owned. Well, I'm 100% in one of my venues and 50% in the other three, and you're 100% in yours. And I have to tell you, and I know I brought this up on other podcasts. It is shocking to me, still to this day, how in Waukesha or downtown, I get couples that come to see me, and they felt so uncomfortable at other venues. And I'm like, wow. And sometimes I really have to like say, who the hell are they? Like, I want to know.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to blast them. I'm a Scorpio. I called one of them. It was a church on Juneau, and they had a big hall behind it. It's not connected to the church, but it's behind it. They own it. And it was a lesbian couple, and they were two teachers. And this was when I had the 6th floor, and they came to me. They booked with me. But they had a very horrible experience. The priest came down and said, a priest of all people, okay, whatever, came down and said, I'm sorry, but we don't do same-sex marriages. How embarrassing, how uncomfortable to make another human. But I'm just really happy that that somebody that's part of the community, you and Rachel, opened up another venue to a safe place for couples to get married in. And fortunately, my business partner is very, very heavily supporting our community as well. So my space is always safe for the LGBTQ plus community. And I have my first trans wedding in Waukesha at my Rotunda
nice,
venue. So I'm
nice.
so
That's great
excited.
for Waukesha.
And they are, I don't even like to label. I hope we get to a time in life, but
Where
we're
you can
not at
just
that time
be.
right now. We still have to label, and we
Yes.
still have to share experiences. But I have my first one next year, and I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And they are the coolest couple.
They-
So
you know what, they
I
always
love
are.
it, and they felt, and I guess it was just a high for me, knowing that this would have never happened 30, 40 years ago, and I get to see them walk down the aisle, and I get goosebumps. So
Yeah.
from
Yeah,
from
it's-
my same-sex marriages.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I still need to work on like my language and trying to figure out the non-binary thing.
Oh
Like,
my
that's all
God, I'm
still
so happy you
new.
brought that up, and let's talk about
I
that.
am
for a
too.
couple
Tough.
It
It's
is really
very
tough.
Jackie, Amber, I agree
Yeah.
with you, and but something funny. There was, you know, obviously the joke is, the butch lesbian's going to be wearing the
Yeah.
tuxedo, and the other ones, the feminine one's going to be wearing the dress, right? Not in this case.
It's just not
hold on,
true,
hold on,
though.
hold on.
Yeah.
This was about a year ago. I booked this couple. They're getting married this coming summer, and one was more masculine, of course, one very overly feminine. And I said, okay, girls, I said, so you're wearing the tux and you're wearing the dress. A gay man can get away with that. And they looked at me and they said, nope, you
No,
got
sir.
that wrong, Clay.
Yeah.
She's wearing the dress and I'm wearing the tux.
Yep.
To take you by
And I think-
surprise.
So I've learned, like, okay, Clay, don't judge, don't make assumptions.
But I think, with trying to get into like working on
But even the bathroom
terms.
situation is hard when I'm at my venues and I'm showing the bathrooms.
Yeah.
As a gay male, I'm like, what do I use? Like, will they be offended if I say, this is the male, this is the female?
Yeah.
Because a couple of my bathrooms are labeled, like, at the
I
rotunda.
think people can
they're
tell
la-
your heart though. Like it's like
No, I know that.
You know people aren't trying to be rude or disrespectful, and it's like there's times where I'm always like, okay, girl, have a good day. I'm like in the back of my head, I'm like,
Should I have said that?
why did I say
know.
that? So it's like for me, I'm just being myself, not trying to be offensive, and I'm like, I'm sorry, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like, oh no, it's fine. So I think we'll get to the point where it's okay. I think it's such a sensitive world we live in right now, where we're trying to be mindful of other people, but also like trying to make room for everybody.
And you know what? As a gay male and a gay female, we're gonna make mistakes, even in our own community of
Yes.
how
Yeah.
we share things and what we say. I've done it before, and have I been corrected by a friend or an acquaintance? Of course I have, and that's okay.
As long
That's
as you're
all right.
not
But being
spiteful,
mi-
coming from a spiteful place.
But
I
being
think-
mindful of it is
Yes.
the most important thing, and
Yes.
other humans can see that.
Agreed.
So 2 years, and you'll open up a new venue. You'll build a big, brand new 4-story venue
Brand new
in the area where you are. I'm sure as a venue owner, though, you're always scouting. Like, I mean, it's kind of in our
Yeah.
blood. Like, oh,
I think
this
so.
building might be really great for a.
I'm
wedding
like that
venue.
still to this day. I'm
Yes,
like constantly
if you see
looking
a cool
for
building,
yeah.
it is just like in I think human nature to be like this. If I would do this and this,
Right,
and I
of
also am
course.
just like I'm so creative, and I'm constantly just like building things, painting things, drawing, like paint whatever
Yeah.
it is. So in my brain, I can't help it. If I see a building, I automatically am like,
Who
oh, this
owns
is
it?
Spanish
Google
revival,
it.
and we're gonna go like this, and it's gonna happen this way, and we're gonna do these things, and like, ta-da, I have it all designed.
The amount of time I spent like looking at abandoned buildings, like designing them in my head is like
yes, it's
for a
'cause it's
retail
fun,
spot,
right?
yeah.
That's what
It's
it
like
is.
my
That comes with what
relaxing
you
day
our
off.
business.
well, I
But
love it.
I just remember when Denizen was opening up, and I said, Marta, look at this beautiful venue. Their interior is incredible.
Interior is
and she
like-
looked at it and she's like, wow, that's amazing. I'm like, they're gonna do really well. I don't know who owns this, but they're gonna do great. It's gorgeous.
That
But,
was
Yeah.
that was the
and I
scary
am-
part where like nobody knew who I was when we opened up the space.
They don't need to know who you are.
And
No.
it was so
They need
scary.
to meet you.
But look
Then
at
they
you
know
now. I'm so proud of what
We
you
did the
brought to the
thing.
city.
And
It's amazing.
I'm just so excited that you messaged me back and you're like, okay, I'll be on. I'm
Yeah,
like,
thank
okay,
you
this
so
is
much for
cool.
coming on.
Because
This
I
is
wanted
so
to start
fun.
having venue owners, and we're gonna wrap it up in a couple minutes. But I have encountered so many venue owners that are so rude and so off. Like I'm like, we're a small city. Be friendly. There's so many weddings.
Walkie.
There's not 10,000 Saturdays in a year. Like, if I'm booked, I want to be friends with another venue owner and send them their way,
Yeah.
or vice versa. Or if my neighborhood's not great for theirs, I mean, it's about competition, yes, but it's about the camaraderie and working with your fellow business owner and the support. And that, to me, is the most important. If you are a business owner, you need to support others in your competition.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that only ensures your success even more. And you've done a great job with that. And I knew right away when you responded to me, and then you even said, oh, I look forward to being with you. I'm like, cool. I love having people in the business. And because somebody said to me, well, are you going to have other venue owners on your podcast? You own 4 venues. I said, yeah, I don't even
Yeah,
really
there's
talk about my
plenty of
venues on my
events to go
podcast.
so
That's
many
immaterial. I want to
events.
support small businesses in our city. That's how we grow and that's how we build.
And I'm gonna say something that maybe is a little controversial, but
No, we love that.
I kind of feel like there's a disease in the wedding industry, in the luxury vendors, that Pinterest and social media has created, where we've lost our ability to hear what couples want to do.
Yeah.
Because it's going to hurt our brand,
Mhm.
right? Like, we don't do that because, or you can't do that. There's just.
It
there's
becomes
just
more about
so-
the photos
it
than
is-
the actual event. We have to
right.
bring back
So-
to why we're here.
Yes, I
Because
went to
two
a
people are getting
wedding
married.
recently, and it was at a beautiful luxury venue. It was a beautiful wedding, and there was a wedding planner there and a photographer there, and I could see the bride. Like, I saw the bride for maybe 5 minutes the whole day, because the vendors were so excited to be at this new fancy venue that it was just like, let's get pictures over here, let's get pictures over here. People were coming in, so like they had a preset ceremony space where like the seating is permanently installed, but she only had half of the guest count to fill those seats. So naturally, in my wedding planner brain, it's like, we all should be directed to move up,
Yeah.
so that her
Right,
seats
sure.
look full for these photos. Where is her wedding planner
Yeah.
to
Oh my
direct
God,
us
okay.
before she's coming
And
down
you're
the
a guest.
aisle? And I'm a guest.
Oh gosh.
And I'm just like, you are hired to protect your client.
Yeah.
not to get pretty pictures.
Yeah.
And not one of her vendors directed her on how to make sure there's a good guest experience. I'll tell you what, her wedding was gorgeous, but as a guest, it was kind of a bummer.
You know what? I just learned
just
something.
I agree.
Amber, I just learned something from you, and I love it. And you don't mind if I steal it.
No, do it.
You said guest experience, and I've never thought about that. And and I'm all about clients and guests, and I know we're running over time, but that's okay. I'm really enjoying talking to you. So a couple more minutes. This might be a 2-part show. But guest experience, I love that. I love that sitting down, and I tell my directors and share with Marta, when you sit down, you talk about the guest experience. How are we going to make it the best?
Yes.
It's interesting you brought up and just really quick, there's nothing that irks me than snobby little young wedding planners. I had 2 of them back to back, and they're whispering to each other in my bar area the other day. And I don't care if they hear me on the podcast. And I thought to myself, oh my God, I wanted to slap each of them. I'm sorry, I did. I wanted to say, get out of my venue. Don't you whisper in front of the owner. Number 1, that's rude. Number 2, their attitude. They didn't even come up and say hello or introduce
How do you know
themselves
what
when
they
I
were
met
talking
them.
about? Maybe
I'm
she
like-
said, I got my period and I need a tampon.
No, I can read lips. It was not about her
You don't
period,
know.
Jackie, okay? Thank
never
And there was
know.
no rush to the bathroom either.
Well,
But
maybe she
anyway,
farted.
okay, so let's end this on. You just made me think of because I'm always like, even with photographers, I'm like, sometimes the photographers are running and they look like they just came out of a homeless camp.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on,
I just
have a
think-
little. And when we say guest experience, that's what I'm going to start sharing with my clients now. Like, let's make sure your camera person looks good. Let's make sure your wedding planners are kind and sweet and great with people, because that's so important. And thank
It
you for
is.
that.
It's about
I learned
all the
something today on
things,
my
you
show.
know, like, we do want your wedding to be beautiful.
Yes.
Absolutely. That is a priority for everybody. But we have to make sure your guests are happy. Like, that has to be
I
a
love
top
it.
priority
I love it.
among all the things.
You are without a shadow of a doubt cut out for this business.
You are.
And I
Thank you.
really appreciate you being on our show today. And I wish for the utmost success for you and all your endeavors, and for your partner. Hopefully we can find her a job. She can come work. Tell her she can come work for me part-time if she's bored with
She
me.
does.
Not
She needs
with
some
me.
front
Hold
of
on.
house
I say
experience.
with me. People work with you because they help you in your success.
Yes.
They don't work for you. But and I'm anxious to see where you go. And I will make it a point now to promote your place to my clients when we are booked, because we've been in business longer, so we have very limited Saturdays for 2026.
Good.
And
You're
Denizen
like, bring them my way.
Yes, I'll take them.
Denizen MKE, great owners and a beautiful venue located at the address, please.
Oh, at 4227 West Fleet Street.
Great location, lots to do around the neighborhood after the venue. Tosa's just a few blocks away,
Yeah.
downtown Tosa. But anyway, thanks again, Amber. And
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
again,
for
I
Thank you
wish
for
you the
having me.
bestest of luck
Thank you.
and success.
Thank you for listening. Make sure you tune in on YouTube, and also make sure to follow and subscribe on all of our social media channels.
The Wedding Files.